Welcome back. The men's 20-kilometer event then starting around 45 minutes after the women's field finished, or the women's leaders finished. 124 starters, 33 teams represented in a very, very strong field indeed. Massana there, the little Spaniard, one of the favorites in this event. The Olympic champion, Massana. Or rather, he was the one disqualified, excuse me, it's his teammate Plaza who is the Olympic champion. Mexico, well, they're the holders of the Lugano trophy. Won it on home soil a couple of years ago in Monterrey, and again, have a strong squad out here. But they're right up against it. The Italians, the Russians, also very, very good. Shenikov, that is, in blue in the lead for Russia. Been the top European now for some 6 or 8 years, Shenikov. So 20 kilometers, 10 laps then for these men. Number 37 there, that's Abel Hamid of Egypt. Getting a little bit of glory there, the 19-year-old. Don't think he'll be up at the front for too long, because again, this pace looks very fast indeed. Bit of a breeze there for the athletes, which should make it a little bit cooler out in the course for the walkers. But it does look yet again as though this is going to be fast and furious from the outset. Spaniards with a very, very strong squad indeed here. As I said, can count Plaza, the Olympic champion, amongst their favourites in this race. Massana, who was disqualified at the Olympic Games, within sight of the stadium, is the reigning world champion. Backing them up, Santiago Perez, Fernando Vasquez, Juan Porras. So if they can hold their act together, the Spaniards here have a very good chance of at least taking a team medal in this race and setting themselves up nicely for the first half of the Lugano Trophy scoring. Number 41 there at the front, that is Valenti Massana. Been around a long time, took silver medal in the European Junior Championships as long ago as 1987. Tiny figure there, alongside 136, all in black. That's the New Zealander, I think. That's Scott Nelson. Commonwealth Games bronze medalist from last year, Scott Nelson. But at the moment, it's Massana doing all the attacking. 175 also up there at this stage. Just behind Massana is Magnus Morenius of Sweden. In 16th 2 years ago in Monterrey, Morenius. So this 20 kilometers again has started fast. 11 minutes on the clock, and that lead pack already catching up some of the tail enders. World best is 1:18.04 by Bu Ling Tang of China. Set that in Beijing almost exactly a year ago, the 7th of April last year. Now pick a spot on the road and just see how fast these men go past it. They're tearing along. Well, the Mexicans to the fore. Hard to identify athletes from that shot as the pack go through there. 67, one of the Britons there, that's Darryl Stone of Steyning Athletic Club, 27-year-old Briton. But working hard just off the back of this pack at the moment. 96 and 94, that's the Italians, they're looking good. Giovanni Pericelli is 96. European Championship bronze medalist last year over 50 kilometers. This is speed work for Pericelli. 94, Michele Didoni, his teammate, also up there. So the Italians looking good again in this event, having seen their women take the silver medals, just missing out on retaining the Eschborn Cup in the women's event. 158 there, also going strongly. Rusyan Shafikov of Russia. 61, that's one of the French, he's going well. Thierry Toutain Second in the European Championships, 50 kilometers last year, Toutain. So massive amount of quality in that lead group. That's why it's so big. With 23 minutes on the clock, there is class all the way down back to the 20s and 30s in this lead group. Nobody giving any quarter at the moment. The pace is fast. You can see how spread out they are across the road and along the course going backwards. 140 there with the headband to the left of that lead group. Kozeniowski of Poland. But 96 Pericelli hugging that inside line at the moment, doing most of the leading. Cup record incidental by Carlos Mercenario, who won this title 2 years ago, or rather won the 50 kilometers title 2 years ago. At lap time 8:15, up to 6 kilometers. So 3 laps gone then, 7 laps to go, and no let up in the work rate at the front. Pericelli and Didoni doing a great job for the Italians. Toutain of France, Chafikov. Nick Ahern of Australia is up there, 26-year-old. Commonwealth champion at 30 kilometers, Ahern. And Shenikov too, just to the right of that group, keeping in very close contact with the leaders. And we do have a new leader. That's Li Zuwen at the moment from China. Or rather, Bu Ling Tang, excuse me. That's the world record holder indeed, at the front at the moment. Now, he was only 31st a couple of years ago. He's 24 years old now. So in Monterrey, he was 22. He finished 31st. My goodness, he's put in a lot of hard work in the last couple of years. Improved by 2 minutes in 1993, and then improved by 1 minute 45 in 1994. Massive progress for Bu over the last couple of years. That drink station, absolutely vital, of course, as in marathon running, to maintain the liquid intake for these athletes. Lose as little rhythm as possible if they can at that drink station. Pouring on the pace here is Bu, taking advantage there of a very, very quick drink station from himself to open up a gap of a couple of meters on the rest, and he'll try and consolidate that, build on it, and pull away from them with half an hour on the clock. Well below halfway at this stage. There's an awfully long way to go. There's Shenikov to the left of the group. $19 now coming into view. That's Li Mingkai. Failed to finish the Olympic Games or the World Championships in 92 and 93. So a man with a checkered past. Well, he is the Chinese champion from Olympic year. 21, his teammate up there now. That's Li Zuwen. And the Chinese beginning to show up at the front there. And my goodness, one of the Spaniards at the back of that group there positively jogged around that corner, no doubt about it. That was Fernando Vasquez, who, without any doubt, was losing contact with the ground massively there on that bend. It wasn't marginal. He really jogged around the bend. 11th at the European Championships last year, Vasquez. He's a good walker, but beginning to work hard to stay with his pace. Toutain is near the front for France. That's the 5 kilometer splits coming up on the screen long after they passed the 5 kilometer point. Shenikov at the front at the moment, and beginning to split up this lead group. Number 1 going through, that's Nick Ahern. He's suffering now. 156 there for Russia, and 169. Andreev is 156. 169 is Kolar of Slovakia. Good walker, Kolar, 7th in Helsinki last year, but working hard now. An indication really of just what sort of quality we're seeing here amongst these walkers. 42, another of the Spaniards there going well. That is Daniel Plaza, the Olympic champion. Shenikov there dragging along his teammate, less experienced teammate Shafikov, only 19 years old. Shenikov himself is 27, won this title in 1991. He's only fifth a couple of years ago in Monterrey. But look at the Chinese in that group, really packing well. You might think this is hard, but remember the 50 kilometers event is tomorrow. All of 25 laps of this circuit compared with the 10 that these men are having to walk. It does look like now this trio have broken away. Shafikov and Shenikov. And I think 21 there, just tucked in behind them. That is the young Chinese, Li Ziwen. Been training at altitude for several weeks as Ziwen. Only came back a few days ago. Just as in all other endurance events, be it cycling, swimming, running, rowing, you name it, going to altitude is a big, big help. And the Chinese, well, past masters at the use of altitude training. They've got whole provinces which are at altitude. They don't have to go and look for the odd mountain. Drinks on board for these men. You'll have noticed quite a few of them then pouring the drinks over themselves to try and keep the skin temperature down, reduce the core temperature. Now that's interesting. Ziwen there, perhaps that was a bit of gamesmanship, having a quick glance across there at Shenikov, and look at that lap time, 7:50 up to 12 kilometers, between 10 and 12 kilometers, 7:50. If we compare that with an earlier split of 8:15 up to 6 kilometers, you can see what the acceleration has done. 25 seconds faster than a couple of laps ago, and it's pulled them right away from the rest. And Li Ziwen, the 21-year-old from Yunnan province, is in control now. Shenikov working hard to stay right beside him. And warnings there for Plaza. He's had one, the Spaniard. Lopez of Mexico too. Kozanowski, the Pole, has had a warning. And look at this. 53 minutes on the clock. Well into the second half of the race now. And Ziwen has broken away. Well, what a turn-up this would be. Never before has a Chinese man had a victory at this level in world competition. They've been very good for 10 or 15 years now in women's competition. But this would be a first for Chinese walkers. The Kenming University student, another physical education student, just like Gao in the women's race, broken right away. Shenikov in second place, but now what, some 30 meters down, I guess, and in third place there, I think that's another of the Chinese. Is that Chen of China in third place? Chinese going so well in that lead pack. There are 3 or 4 of them. .15 kilometers, just outside the hour there for Ziwen. Has a best of 1:22:30, so some 20 minutes or thereabouts to walk for the Chinese 21-year-old. That best goes back 2 years. Shenikov now with 20 and 18 right on his heels. Those are the other 2 Chinese. Good packing by the Chinese here. 20 is Chen, Asian Games champion from last year, 3rd in the Chinese championships. And 18 is Bu, the world record holder, or world best holder, I should say. 24 going through there. That's Rasmus Grosen Friis of Denmark. And Chen, or rather Ziwen there, you can see lapping athletes left, right and centre. Shenikov too, working his way through the tail enders. 20 right on his heels. Chen working hard to catch Shenikov up. 1:30 goes through. That's one of the Mexicans. We haven't seen much of them through the important stages of this race. Bernardo Segura working hard to come through, but nobody's worked harder than this man. Li Ziwen is going to take gold for China, the 2nd gold of the day. Remember, they've had gold from Gao in the women's 10 kilometers, and it's gold again for the host nation in the 20 kilometers for the walk for men. The 17th IAAF Reebok Race Walking World Cup 20 kilometers event gold goes to China, the host nation. their first ever major gold medal. Shenikov takes a marvellous silver medal there, another medal for him to take home to his collection in Russia. And third place is Segura, the Mexican. He's come through very, very strongly in the latter stages. Miss Yulia of Belarus takes fourth place. Britain going through there with 1 lap to go, I think 65. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. Goodness me. Steve Partington from the Isle of Man. But there are the first 8. Individual medals to Lee, Shenikov and Segura. The team race won by the Chinese by 14 points from Italy, with Mexico taking the bronze.